Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. Today's video is going to be another money making method, this time courtesy of the Toyota Celica rally car, which was added with update 1.27. Because of its amazingly cheap price tag at just over 200k, this essentially makes it one of the cheapest and best rally cars to use in terms of the Le Mans grind. With them all being very good, just the price point alone makes this an absolute standout, and it can hit nearly 200 miles an hour in a straight line. It's absolutely fantastic. So let's get into the build itself. It's going to be racing hard tyres. You also want to make sure you've got the racing intermediates and the racing heavy wets on hand, just in case you get that bad weather which Le Mans is known for. Body height is 110 and 115. We're on a track, we're not on dirt, so we can essentially lower the ride height of this car. Anti-roll bar is 4 and 8, that's personal preference, but I found that comfortable for me. Damping ratio compression is 35 and 40, with the expansion being 45 at the front and 48 at the rear. Natural frequency up next, 315 at the front and 327 at the rear. Negative camber angle 1.5 for both, and toe angle is 0.15 at the front, and that'll be outwards, and then at the rear it's 0.05 inwards. So pretty simple to remember, just get the icons right. Initial torque, this is all personal preferences. I've got 13, 14, 9, 9 and 5 and 5, with the torque vectoring center differential and the distribution being set to 35 and 65. You can do that on the fly, it's completely up to you how you have it. We've got the fully customizable racing transmission installed, and I've set the ratio to about 320 with no individual gear messing around needed. The ECU is fully customizable. I believe this comes as standard, and we're not power restricting any of this car. Downforce is 106 at the front. This is to kind of balance out to the 700 mark, and at the rear is 200. We're running the high RPM turbocharger, and even with this on, you can still get 4 laps per tank with a bit of fuel saving, and it is honestly absolutely great for it. That straight line speed is fantastic. Nothing else needs changing. Feel free to pause at any moment that you may need to. So let's talk about the build itself. So usually when an update drops, I'll review all the cars, and then I will try my best to get a build going for each of the individual cars within that update. So this is a 1.27 car, which was our latest update just before Christmas and before the new year. With an update not coming around just yet in 2023, this is still one of the newest additions to the game. And whilst it isn't currently in the Legends dealer, once it does, you want to grab this as soon as you can if you haven't already got it. It's an absolutely amazing car, and it's well worth that legendary tag that Gran Turismo has given it. So in all honesty, I lost my motivation for the money grind around about Christmas time. I was just busy doing other things, and I already had this car ready and built. However, I just never got around to making a guide on it. So I thought, do you know what, it's been sat there a while and it's definitely worth your time and effort. Yes, you can use other cars such as the Audi Quattro Pikes Peak or the Peugeot 205, and whilst you do get them for free, I just feel like they've been in the game for so long that everybody really knows about them. In all honesty, having a fresh legendary rally car to grind with is just absolutely fantastic. They've always been one of the standouts, especially for Le Mans. The fuel consumption, the tyre wear and the speed you can get out of those things is just absolutely amazing. So with that being done, let's get into the strategy that I used whilst running this thing at Le Mans. So let's go and get straight into it. As you can see, what you realistically want to be doing is just set your fuel mix to 6. Now we do have the high RPM turbocharger, and if you really want, you can run it without. However, you are sacrificing a ton of straight line speed, and that's what's good about this car. A little bit of fuel saving, you can quite easily still get the 4 laps, which you'll essentially always get without running the high RPM turbo. So run the high RPM turbo, just do a bit of fuel saving if you want to do a longer stint. What I usually do is, because of how the rain usually works, I'll probably do 2-3 laps top, so I'll push on my opening stint and then go into full fuel saving mode and just kind of cruise around until the end of the event. So overall, you just need one single pit stop, and you probably won't even have to change tyres unless the wet weather's around. So what you'll see me do throughout this run is essentially just do a quick push lap. We'll keep it at fuel mix 6 because either way we're going to be hitting nearly 200 miles an hour on the straight, which is just absolutely no match for the Group 4 cars we're racing. And then, we're pretty much all good to the end. In terms of your difficulty, it's completely up to you, but I do recommend easy difficulty. This is because if you are kind of just, get a bit of rain and such, you can essentially stop and wait at the end of lap 6 I got pretty much too much of a perfect run this time. So whilst I did do a full 7 laps, it was pretty much as close as it could be to the 30-minute mark. So at Le Mans, speed really isn't an issue. It doesn't really matter where your lap times are. It doesn't really matter what you're doing. As long as you've got pretty much any decently tuned car, you can complete this event. So the way I like to do it is just use as many different cars as possible. It keeps the Le Mans grind as fresh as it really can be. In all honesty, these events have been around for so long that yes, they are getting a little bit tired at this point, but using those different cars just makes it a bit more enjoyable for me personally, and that's why I keep bringing you these builds, just to freshen up that grind and help you on your way to get all the cars within Gran Turismo 7, especially those 20 million plus cars. So what I recommend doing once you get to lap 2 is essentially just keep tracking your weather radar. In all honesty, you essentially want to aim for a 3-lap stint at first, like I said, so don't worry about kind of just watching your fuel and stuff. You can also see it on the little fuel bar to your left. You don't have to track it in kind of the HUD itself. As you can see, we eventually did get a bit of rain coming in, but it was very much awkward for me this time, with it mostly moving around the bottom until we got to the end of lap 3. So this is where I took my first and only pit stop of the race, and I essentially decided to cover off just in case there was quite a bit of a downpour, which there usually is at Le Mans. So I went for some intermediates. These did last me to the end, even though it never really got to Inter's condition. So even if you do make a bit of a mess up on the tyre choice, it's not necessarily going to affect you that much overall in terms of the race. So this is realistically when you want to take your first pit stop. If you get rain a bit earlier, just pit in and cover it off. You might need to do a bit of an extra pit stop, but like I said, I got very, very lucky in terms of this run, being able to complete a full 7 laps in just a few seconds over the 30-minute time barrier. So once you've essentially put all the fuel in and changed onto a new set of tyres, you're pretty much good to go until the end. I'd fully recommend just going into full fuel saving mode at this point. I didn't notice a massive difference in my laps. It was just essentially a nice gentle cruise around until the finish line. So all I recommend doing is essentially just lift, coast, and then brake and such, with a nice, quite early short shifts going on. This way you'll save as much fuel as possible and you'll quite easily get 4 laps out of it. It's probably just the best way to run it for your second stint, which you'll notice me doing here. As you can see, I've short shifted nice and early on pretty much all of my gears, lifting, coasting, and then slowly getting on the brakes, just to kind of, essentially dawdle around the whole lap. I fully recommend doing it this way. That way you're pretty much guaranteed your 4 laps and you can just, keep going until the end. So as you can see, we did that well, that on the 7th lap, that little extra lap that we essentially did, we did manage to start lapping the AI, which doesn't happen that often with a lot of the cars at Le Mans. That's because of the fuel consumption, plus pretty much how perfect of a run it was. Nothing really went against me. I managed to cover off for the rain, and obviously, that extra fuel, tyre wear and such just kind of came in handy. If you get quite a few downpours, that's when you'll notice you'll probably never really see the AI, but it was nice to see that they're still pottering around. So here we go, we're going to go around the final few corners, pull out of the final corner. As you can see, it's just going to tick down as we go across the line to finish this event in just over 30 minutes. Nice and easy. In all honesty, this is probably one of my go-to methods for Le Mans now. So let's check how we did overall. As you can see, we led the race by over 3 minutes 17 seconds with a fastest lap on lap 2 of 4 minutes 4 seconds 0.504, which in my opinion is pretty solid for really any car around at Le Mans. So there you go, you've got a car built for both fuel and tyre life as well as speed. So, overall it's definitely up there with my favourite money making methods, as well as a few of the other Group B rally cars and such. 825k in 30 minutes, nice and easy. In all honesty, it doesn't get much easier than this, even with the kind of differing weather. There we have it. I just want to say a massive thank you to each and every one of you for the support lately. It's been absolutely amazing. My Twitter and my Discord will be down in the description down below if you want to meet like-minded racers, Also, if you want to donate, I'll have my donation links down there, as well as my sponsors for these videos. One being the controller people, who have absolutely supported me to no end over the last few months, as well as my newest sponsor, Poggers, who make the absolute best energy and sleep formula drinks on the market. Honestly, it just helps me wake up in the morning, helps me get to sleep at night. So that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one, and as always, peace.